Coming up on this month's episode, we pay homage to Eric Carr. We talk about did grunge kill 80's metal? And we talk about Kiss turkeys. Stick around. Hey guys, it's Brant. Back with In Our Heads, and I have got my co-hosts here with me. I've got Matthew Smith from MD Smith Comics, AJZetro 1975. You find both these guys on Instagram, so they're back for season 1, episode number 2, the November edition. I want to say first off, if you're a viewer that's returning, welcome back. If you're a new viewer, thank you for stepping by, and please consider subscribing to the channel if you like what you see. First off, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our Patreons. Special thanks to Patreons as of the recording of this, which is 10/19. On the inner circle level, I have Rhett Smetzer, James Dean, Jesse Ray, John Steinheimer from Voice of Doom. Supporter level, I have Pyretta. And I really appreciate them guys and gals supporting the channel. And you can support the channel too. Just go to patreon.com/inmyhead and you can get all the information about it. So I had my notes here that I was going to introduce you guys, but I already have. So how you guys been since we last spoke?
Good. We saw the Halloween movie.
Yeah, so before we get into anything, let's talk about that. That's kind of current events, and we always talk about current events first. So let's talk about that really quick. Current events. And then we'll talk about some comments from last month's video. I haven't seen it, but you guys' take, y'all have both seen it. So Matthew, what did you think about it?
Well, I just brought it up so I could stir the pot with AJ there.
Okay.
No, honestly, I'm on the fence about it. I need to see it again, I feel like, so I can have a better opinion. But because there were things I really liked about it, but there were things that I thought didn't work at all. I don't know if I should go into any spoilers or not, because people probably won't see it by the time they see this video. But
yeah, I wouldn't spoil it.
Like I said, I'm 50-50 on it. If anybody wants to talk about it, they can message me and we'll chat. But on the other hand, AJ.
It was pretty much what I thought it would be. I didn't really enjoy it. I actually enjoyed it less than the one before it, to be honest with you. So, and I don't want to harp on it too bad. I know a lot of people liked it, and a lot of people are into it, and that's fine. You're more than welcome to think that way and enjoy it. But I'm not going to be buying the Blu-ray or. Maybe I'll watch it one more time just to torture myself, because I watched it sober. So maybe I'll try with a few beers in me. I don't know, but definitely not a fan. I wanted to give it a D, but my wife talked me into giving it like a C- because I gave the other one a C+. So,
well, just take a shot every time they say "Evil Dies Tonight," and by the end of the movie, you'll really love it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna take. I would probably go through a whole bottle of something, that's for sure. But yeah, definitely not on my list. But the same weekend that came out, I saw Kiss on Saturday, and that really that made my weekend, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I was wanting you to bring that up. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? It was great. I've never stayed until the end of a show. We always try to get out and beat the traffic, and seeing that confetti and hearing all the we've all heard Rock and Roll Night 4 million times, and it comes on the radio and you're like, oh, here it is again. But it was really an experience, and all the but the shit with Paul and the backup stuff. I understand, but he was still putting on the show. Everyone put forth a good effort, and it was fun. And I look at the click tracks and the backing tracks and all that stuff that's helping them. I look at it as kind of like a musical Viagra. They just can't perform like they did in their 20s and 30s, and they need a little push, a little help with something. So it was a good time. I got a little choked up. I did. I really did. I got like possessed by Rick for a moment there at the end. So I was feeling it. It was a good time.
Before I get in these mail sacks and comments and we get into November Kiss releases, I'm going to talk about my first beer. And if you follow me on social media, you've seen this one.
You better have that one.
So, and I actually
Speaking
been
of
here letting it warm up a little bit because it's actually better when it's warmer. What'd you say?
Like, speaking of what you'll be doing until February, it's drinking those beers because you have that many of them.
Yep. I have about 150 of them.
That's awesome.
It's like liquid Hershey's, man.
Boil it. Get hot cocoa.
All right, so I'll read some of the comments from the previous video, season 1, episode 1. Tom Tobin said, "The Bald Boys of Rock and Roll." Tony P said, "Rip and destroy." Awesome chat, fellas. Never forget Chopper. Hashtag never forget Chopper. Our buddy Rick, it's all for you, Demon, said, "Aaron's laugh is heartwarming. His giggles during the Phantom talk are priceless. Great talks all around. Certainly a great way to kick off the Halloween season. Great work. Take care. P.S. Matthew, the Halloween box set is badass."
Nice.
James Dean said, "Great Phantom chat. Longtime Rip and Destroy fan here. Thinking how cool it'd be if they played that live instead of Love Gun for the millionth time."
Yeah.
Gregory Pegg says, "Dynasty needs to be the next mega box."
Ooh,
Jersey Joe said,
nice.
"If you're doing a Halloween thing, Kiss opened up in 1998, which Psycho Circus, I think, for Halloween Eves in Detroit. I remember I taped it off the radio and listened to it until I got rid of my tape player. Great video conversation." And so those were the comments. So feel free to comment on this video, and we'll pick some out and read them in the next video. Kind of like a current events type thing. I don't know if you had guys or anybody that's watching has been seeing my TikToks or my things that I put on Instagram or put on Twitter, but I took some conversation that we had of the Kiss Phantom talking about the fight scene, and I put that commentary under the Kiss video. And as of right now, as of filming of this, one of those videos has 20,000 views on TikTok, which
Nice.
which is crazy. So if you are on TikTok, you can find me there at In My Head 69 on TikTok. So let's talk about November Kiss releases. These are the way I did them is in the kind of chronological order. Kiss released Rock and Roll Over on November 11th. Rock and Roll Over would be a cool box set, but it's its actual 45th anniversary. So this is the 45th anniversary of Rock and Roll Over on November the 11th. And I looked on Kiss's website today and still nothing. It's still all about Destroyer and everything. They released on November 13th, 2012, they released the Casablanca singles from 1974 to 1982. On November 15th, in 1988, they released Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. So that's the 33rd anniversary of Smashes and Thrashes. November 16th, 1981, they released The Elder. The Elder turns 40 this year. I mean, that makes me feel old because I remember buying The Elder with my own money. I was 12, so that makes sense. I'm 52 now, so The Elder turns 40. The box set, which I have back there, turns 20. It's crazy to think it turns 20 on November the 20th. Alive for the Millennium Concert turns 15 on November 21st. It was released in 2006. And Kiss Alive 1976 through 2000 was released on November 1st or on November 21st, 2006. So those are the Kiss releases for November. Any comments on any of those?
Yeah, when that box set came out, 20 years ago. It's crazy. I was working at Sam Goody Music, and so the day that came in, I put one aside and bought it myself, with my employee discount. And
Nice.
it's funny because when you sent a list of those and everything that came out, I realized that that a live little box set of all four of them, including the Millennium one, that was the last CD I ordered from BMG Music Club.
Nice.
It was like on sale. I got it in 2007. It was on sale for like $8 or $5 or something, and that was the last thing I ever bought from BMG. So it was mail order clubs back in the day. So.
Oh yeah. Good stuff. I don't
All
have
right.
many memories. I never got the box set myself. I actually got it I bought it for someone for Christmas, and for Tony P, and he burned them for me. But man, I wish I would have got my hands on that Casablanca singles. Though I saw that later on in life, and man, it looks like a lot of fun. But it's like $300 now on eBay if you want it. So
Yeah.
that kind of sucks. But I mean, what can you say about like the Elder and Rock and Roll Over? Elder was like one of the last ones I got, and it was like probably a good reason why I didn't hear it until later on in life.
Right. Yeah,
No.
it would have been nice to see them do something with Rock and Roll Over, being its 45th anniversary. It would have been real nice for them to see to see them do something with that. And the Elder, I don't know if the Elder will ever get any love that it deserves to get, but
Not
it
by them.
deserves it deserves something grandiose, and
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever get it.
Make that
but-
movie.
Yeah, we can always hope.
Yeah.
Someone should do an animated movie or something. They could,
Exactly.
I take
There was somebody that was doing a crowdfunding thing years ago, trying to make the movie, but I don't know whatever happened with that.
Oh man, see?
I remember hearing about that probably about 4 or 5 years ago. They were crowdfunding it. They were going to make the Elder.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, we need a diehard Kiss fan that's also a film student,
Right.
to crowdfund that, and a writer to write a real good script. Or
it might sound dumb, but I kind of feel like if Kiss embraced and showed some love to stuff like the Elder or whatever, then more fans would too. Because I kind of feel like some fans react the way they do. They don't like it. They kind of push it aside. So some fans push it aside. But if they were like, hey, we're going to give this a release, some people might listen to it who haven't heard it in many, many years because of that reason, or because there may be younger fans who, are just used to the things they are pushing all the time. They, so when they hear and give Elder a chance, they might be like, this isn't too bad. And then, that kind of thing. I mean, I know that might sound kind of ridiculous, but if they show it some love, I feel like more fans would show love too,
Right.
Oh, yeah, it was like 10 years after I first heard it that I listened to it again. Like, that's not bad. It is pretty good, but I probably would have definitely hated it if I was there when it was released. So, but I don't know. I never got it though. I remember watching it, that episode of Fridays you talked about. I watched that. I was there for that. I was there for Solid Gold, I think it was on there, and I never got it. I don't know why. I never got it. So, but I probably wouldn't have liked it though that much as a kid. So it's probably better off I waited 10 years afterwards and then another 10 years to actually enjoy it. So
listen to it with adult ears. It's kind of like
right, like Peter Chris's solo album.
Right.
I didn't deliberately tear up my CD like I did my record. No.
All right. So segment 1. Talk about this man right here. I got some history and some trivia. Eric was born Paul Charles Caravello, July 12th, 1950, and passed on November 24th. Better known professionally as Eric Carr, he was an American musician, a multi-instrumentalist who was the drummer for the rock band Kiss, 1980 to 1991. He was selected as the new Kiss drummer after Peter Criss departed, and he chose the stage name Eric Carr, took up the Fox persona. He remained a member of Kiss until his death from heart cancer on November 24th at the age of 41. He applied for Kiss by submitting a cassette tape of Kiss's current single, Shandy, but his vocals over the music instead of Paul Stanley's. He put the application into a bright orange folder to make it stand out visually. Jane Graw, the KISS staffer, told him later that she noticed a brightly colored envelope and picked it to be reviewed from the pile based on the color. Eric was the last drummer to audition for the band and asked Stanley and Simmons and Ace to autograph a list of songs that he was asked to play in case he never saw them again. He said he knew the arrangements better than the band did from learning the recorded versions of the KISS albums. He was not impressed with KISS's performance during the audition. He says they were awful. I had to remind them, no, I sing this harmony, you sing that one, stuff like that. Right away we worked together. I knew I impressed them. The press release announcing the induction of Eric into KISS deducted 3 years from his actual age, in part to confuse those seeking information about his true identity. He decided on Eric Carr quite carefully. He noticed while all the 4 members' full names were 3 syllables long, so he shortened his last name to Carr and chose Eric from a list of names his girlfriend had given him at the time. And I thought about that. Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Ace Frehley, and he's Eric Carr. So he's kind of like, and he said that Peter Chris, it was like Peter Chris, Eric Carr, Gene Simmons. It was all 3 syllables. He was introduced to public on the syndicated television show Kids Are People Too.
Yep.
Filmed in July and aired in September 1980. His first public performance with the band in New York City's Palladium was on July 25th, 1980. Eric's last recording with KISS was the song God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which featured him on backing vocals. The last time Eric worked with KISS was in July 1991 when KISS filmed the video for God Gave Rock and Roll to You with Eric playing the drums. Eric's last public appearance with the band was at the MTV Video Music Awards in September 1991. Eric played on The Elder, Creatures of the Night, Lick It Up, Animalize, Asylum, Crazy Nights, Hot in the Shade, and sang backup on Revenge. I wanted to talk about, I got what I call 3 big misses for KISS with Eric Carr. And I want a round table on this. My big miss number 1 was only having him sing lead vocal for Little Caesar on Hot in the Shade. I would have loved to hear Eric sing on other songs. And here's my list. I'd love to hear Eric sing Under the Rose. I was a kid when this came out, and I thought it was Eric since he was credited writing it. I thought that was Eric singing Under the Rose. I didn't know it was Gene. But he wrote Eric Under the Rose, and I think he could have easily sung it. It would have been good if he would have sang Rock and Roll Hell off of Creatures. I think Eric would have sounded phenomenal singing Rock and Roll Hell off of Creatures. Young and Wasted off of Lick It Up. He sang it in concert, so why did they not let him record it on the album? Under the Gun off Animalize. I think he would have been great singing Under the Gun. He had that voice. He didn't have the high swinging out of the rafters range that Paul does, but I don't think he would have needed it. He would have had that, when Eric screamed, he had that scratchy, raspy voice. And could you imagine him screaming those fires? Because he actually does those fire. That's Eric. When the lower fire, that's Eric screaming that. And then Paul does the fire, way up in there. So could you imagine, just think about it. Eric singing the whole Under the Gun. That would have been awesome.
That'd been great.
Loves a Deadly Weapon off Asylum. Loves a Deadly Weapon. That would have been fun to hear Eric sing Loves a Deadly Weapon. I think he could have sang No, No, No off of Crazy Nights. No, No, No. He has a voice very similar to Gene's. So he helped write No, No, No. So I think he could have easily sang No, No, No. And of course he sang Little Caesar. My favorite song off of Hot in the Shade is Little Caesar. So what are some songs that you guys think Eric would have sounded good singing?
I agree with a lot of what you said there. And his voice had that kind of raspiness like Peter had, but it was somewhere between Gene and Peter. His voice, it wasn't quite like Paul, like you mentioned. So when I was thinking about what songs he could have sang, it ended up being all Gene songs because I thought his voice would fit better. And of course, you mentioned Young and Wasted. I mean, that live performance of him singing that, it is so good. It's set up and he's singing it. It's better live than it is on the album. I love it, So I think it would have been great if they did it like that on the album. Faster with him singing, I also think he could have fits like a glove. Similar as that one is, as Young and Wasted. It's just that the voice would fit it. And the other one I thought from Creatures, I thought he could have done Killer pretty well.
Killer.
That would be cool to hear him sing. That would have been a good introduction for him. Something really heavy like that. But yeah, so I always liked Eric a lot. I was pretty young. Like I was very young when I became a Kiss fan, and he was in Kiss when I became a Kiss fan because I saw them on Fridays when I was, like a toddler, and I liked him a lot. I think I told you guys before we did a home video, and we dressed like Kiss, and I was Gene, my mom was Ace, and my sister was Eric, so she had the face painted
Awesome.
Like him and everything. And I went to the first unofficial Kiss convention they did in Atlanta back in '93, I believe it was, the Kiss Expo, and I bought this bootleg Kiss shirt that I have right here that has this old, image on the front from Live too, but on the back, oddly, is a rest in peace Eric Carr. It's got the dates on it and everything.
Nice.
An odd mix, but I still have the shirt from '93. It was a great little touch to have Eric on there, I thought. But
Does it still fit?
Yeah, that maybe. I haven't worn it in a long time. I don't know though.
I bet it still fits. That's awesome.
Might be a little snug. I don't know.
Show off the muscles. Nice. Well, I have the I was there too I was there when the Kids Are People 2 came on. It was so cool. And I probably just became a Kiss fan like the week before. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? But it was early in the morning and they introduced it. Was great. It was so cool. And as far as songs go, I'm with you, Matt. I just instantly thought like Gene. So, and Young and Wasted for sure. That's so cool. When I first saw that, I'm like, I thought Gene sang this song. And oh my god! But I'd like to hear like some lesser known, maybe not as popular ones, because I think you could probably interchange any Gene song and throw him in there. I don't know why they never used him. It just kind of it kind of sucks. But I would like to hear like Murder in High Heels. Like he could have done something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of a goofy song at the end, but it's a cool song. He could have done something cool with it, or Boomerang. I mean, Chris Jericho can do it. So can Eric Carr. What the hell? So but I would. That's what I was saying. I was missing at the show. I'm like, I really wish Eric Singer had a little bit more feeling to it, because I mean, no one should really be doing Beth anyway. But the cover of Beth on Smashes, it was cool to hear him, his version of it. But I wish he was still around to bang out like some Black Diamond or something like, or maybe even throw a couple of other Pete songs and or Hooligan or something. He could probably do Hooligan too, or
sure, yeah,
right. Touring, if they were still touring, and the fact that he died the same day, right? Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I believe so.
I believe so.
It was the same weekend, or at least I know that. Yeah,
it was a real shitty weekend. And then no one talked about Eric Carr, because it's like, holy, Freddie Mercury it's a big news. Not only to die, but what happened and how no one knew how sick he was and all that stuff. So, it's sad, but what are you gonna do? But yeah, for sure though, you can interchange some Gene songs, most of Gene songs with Eric Carr, right? For sure.
My second thing that Kiss missed out, big miss with Eric Carr, not allowing Eric to have more creative input as far as songwriting goes. Eric had no credit on Creatures. He would have been great to be allowed to write on that. He All Hell's Breaking Loose off of Lick It Up was his to start, and then Gene and Paul changed it a lot. He had a credit on Animalized for Under the Gun, no credit on Asylum. He had a no credit on Crazy Nights, and Little Caesar on Hits, and of course on Hot in the Shade, and then finally the lead vocal on Little Caesar. Eric should have been allowed to write more. They knew he was a good songwriter because, look at the songs he did write on. Under the Rose on Creatures. He had a couple other credits on The Elder, and they should have not only did they big miss with Eric, but they also big missed with Bruce Kulick.
I was about to say the
story
same
for
thing.
another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that they finally started using Bruce to his full potential on the Revenge and on the Carnival of Souls album, whether you like those albums or not. But holy crap, look at what he did when they let him be used to his full potential, other than just guitar soloing. When they let him get in up to his asshole in writing and singing, and he made those albums. Whenever I listen to Carnival of Souls to this day, to me, Carnival of Souls is a Bruce Kulick album with Kiss playing in the band with him. and letting him sing and letting them sing on songs, and him finally singing on the last one. That is Bruce Kulick's swan song, man. But yes,
I guess that's the difference between being what do you call it, like a member of the band and a paid employee. So
but I mean, you're paying these guys, so why not? And they have talent. And you know what their talents are. Why not use them? Why be so egotistical to think that just because you wrote it, that your stuff is better?
Yeah.
Especially like in the, mid 80s there, where Gene was doing so much acting stuff. Like, let Bruce and Eric kind of step into a role where Gene's not totally present and see what they have to offer, instead of it just being Paul and Gene and whoever they bring in to help them,
Right. My third big miss with Eric Carr was not being on an official live album, not having Eric Carr on an official live album. To me, Alive 3 should have had Eric Carr on it, and it should have came out way earlier. To me, I think Alive 3 could have come out after Animalize. It could have been the Animalize Live and Uncensored. They could have cleaned that up, and it could have been that. And if they couldn't do it because, you can't do that because it's MTV. I mean, they released MTV Unplugged.
Right.
But then, okay, well then, wait a year, put out Asylum, and have Alive 3 come after Asylum. To me, I was talking to Rick earlier today, texting him, and I was telling him, I said, I was talking about how we were going to talk about Eric. And I said, honestly, I think Eric on on Asylum was at his height. Eric on Asylum, he peaked. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't good on Crazy Nights and he wasn't good on Hot in the Shade, but those were not as good albums as, I think Hot in the Shade, they used drum tracks. They used, I don't think Eric was actually even playing on Hot in the Shade. A lot of that was programmed to save money. And so there was, and let's be honest, Crazy Nights, I'm not trying to bash or anything, but it's a pop rock album. It's a pop metal, Poison, Bon Jovi. Warrant album. Asylum was the last album that I think Kiss really did before Revenge, was the last album that just kind of kicked you in your teeth a little bit, even though it was very polished. It had songs on it like King in the Mountain and songs like that. Just the beginning of King in the Mountain shows where Eric was.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
And so I think Eric not getting an official live album is a big miss for Kiss to me. It's a big miss for the fans. These are not only big misses for Kiss, but it's big misses for the fans, because it's things that we should have got from this guy that we didn't. We weren't allowed to.
It would be really nice if like they just put out that the live Japan, the sound, what's the name of it or whatever,
soundboard.
The soundboard. Yeah. Let's have something like that from that era. The from Animalize or Asylum era or something like that. So we have that lineup features.
I'm curious to see where they actually go with that, because sometimes Kiss will say, oh yeah, this is the first item, or this is the first thing in a line of things that we're going to do. And then you never see anything else.
I was surprised they used that one though, that has Ace on it. I would almost think they just choose something from the Sonic Boom tour or something or whatever.
I think they did it because they wanted something that'll sell.
I just got it too today, but how about the set list though for like the
I know.
Lick It Up and Asylum Tour and Animal? Holy shit!
Yeah,
Those are the set list, but gone somewhere. I mean, we got bootlegs. I got bootlegs. I'm sure you guys got bootlegs. You can watch that.
Yeah,
YouTube too. But.
I would love if they did a live off the soundboard from either the Animalized tour or the Asylum tour, because those set lists off of those two tours was phenomenal. Y'all got anything y'all want to say about Eric? Memories or things that you remember about Eric? And I can say my memories at the end, but you guys got anything you want to say?
I'll give him a cheers. I got some Oktoberfest here.
Yep.
So
Matthew, and I know you're not drinking, but
no, I got a monster. I got a good old a monster. So
cheers to Mr. Carr.
Cheers, Mr. Carr. Rest
great
in peace.
Years he gave us. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna pour it onto my floor to piss my wife off for the homie.
Thank you for all the amazing music that you gave us.
Yep,
definitely.
All right, segment number 2. This is a brewery in Salisbury called New Sarum, and it's a lager made with cheer wine.
Oh, okay.
And they only make this one time a year, and it sells out the day that they release it. Sells out.
Man, Casey would love that because she likes cheer wine a lot.
That sounds good.
Yeah. It's 6% by alcohol. So it's handcrafted in Salisbury, North Carolina, and it's a can, so we get that.
Well, leave some in the fridge when we come visit you.
And it comes out. I don't know if you can see it, but you can't. It's pink. It has a pinkish color to it. I wish I could pour this in a glass.
Cheer wine and Sundrop are 2 drinks we get whenever we're in the Carolinas.
Cheer wine and Sundrop. Yep. All right. So, segment number 2. Did grunge kill 80s metal? What we're going to basically be talking about is the release of Nevermind, because that came out this time. Talking about the rise of grunge, favorite grunge bands, and the effect on 80s music. Nirvana Nevermind was released in November 1991. Soundgarden had been around since 1988, but they released Bad Motorfinger in October 1991. Pearl Jam released 10 in October 1991. Alice in Chains released Facelift in August of 1990. Bands that had 90s albums, bands that had albums that came in 90 were Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, Queensryche, Warrant, Queensryche Empire, Warrant, Cherry Pie, Extreme Porno Graffiti, Rat, Detonator, Poison, Flesh and Blood. 91 albums was Metallica, the Black Album, Ozzy, No More Tears, Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Then 92, when grunge was in the rage, 92 albums were Alice in Chains, Dirt, Rage Against the Machine, STP Core, Def Leppard, Adrenalize, Warrant, Dog Eat Dog, Kiss, Revenge. And a lot of people say that grunge is what killed 80s music, but this is my opinion and we can discuss. My opinion, what killed 80s music was lack of support from labels, increasingly weak material from bands that had been out since the early 80s. The market was at the time saturated with copies of bands, and people were ready for a change. They were burned out. So it was a change in generation too. It's the same reason why we like our parents' music. I like 50s music and 60s music, but I don't consider it my music,
Right.
The 70s and the 80s was my music. I like some 90s, early 90s, but when you start getting into the 2000s and, it's because it's not my generation's music. But honestly, man, sometimes I listen to Hair Nation and I listen to other streaming channels online. And dude, you can always tell when a hair metal or rock metal song comes on that was from the late 80s, early 90s, because the material, the song is just not as good as the band's earlier material.
Yeah.
And so I'm not one of those people who believe that grunge killed metal. I think metal was very well on the way to killing itself. The industry that supports metal was very much on its way to killing that genre of music for it. So, but I think grunge gets a lot of hate for that from metalheads and people who grew up listening to that music. But Poison, Flesh and Blood, yeah, there's some good songs off there, but it's not their best. Detonator, there's some good songs on there, but it's not their best. Warrant, Dog Eat Dog. I mean, some of these albums I just could not get into, and it wasn't that I was swept away by other bands or whatever. It's just the material just wasn't as good. So, what do you guys think? I want to hear from you guys.
I don't know if I don't think it killed it. It may have put the stake in the heart, but like you were saying, the hair metal stuff was around in what? They had a good run. 85, 86 was like Look What the Cat Dragged In and Night Song. They had some, I think, around that time. 99, Bon Jovi. They had a pretty good run, and that grunge stuff. The Soundgarden's first album was what, 88?
88. Yeah.
Right.
They had two albums before they released Bad Motorfinger.
Yeah, it was creeping up, but I mean, I think that's just how it goes. You have a good run of 4 or 5 years on everything. I mean, even grunge after 94, 95, then you started getting the whole punk pop thing with Green Day and Offspring and all those bands and stuff like that. They had a good run for 4 or 5 years. So yeah, I don't think it's fair to say it killed it. Like you said, it was dwindling. I'd rather listen to Night Songs, Cinderella Night Songs, than whatever the hell. I don't even know. Heartbreak Station, was that the one?
Yeah.
Right. I'd rather listen to Look What the Cat Dragged In than whatever their last one. That's just how it is. They all have their runs, and then everything has to come to an end, I guess. But I don't think it's fair to say that it killed it. So it was already going out, and it's just the new one came in. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think, before it became, labeled as grunge or alternative or whatever, I mean, releases by Alice in Chains and Soundgarden were kind of classified as heavy metal, in the late 80s, early 90s when they were coming out, before, that became the buzzword, and MTV was labeling everything, alternative rock and all this stuff. And I was a kid in the 80s. I was a teenager in the 90s. So I listened to this stuff in the 80s because I had older siblings and I heard it all through them. And I was started getting into music at a very young age. But then when I was a teenager, I was listening to this stuff like, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots, that kind of stuff. I'm a fan of both. And, they have different genres that they're labeled as, but I don't see a huge difference between the music, honestly. I can see it kind of like, when you had these 80s bands like, Kiss, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses and stuff, their influences were, sure, stuff like the Beatles and Black Sabbath and stuff like that, Deep Purple, whatever,
Led
that
Zeppelin.
kind of stuff. Yeah, Led Zeppelin, but then when you have these 90s bands, they had that influence as well, but they also had like this dose of like 70s AM radio or like Fleetwood Mac and like mixing that with kind of like the punk stuff, because they were a little bit younger than the 80s rock guys, the metal guys or whatever. So they had a different set of influences. So their sound was a little different, They mixed that punk sound with that kind of like, light rock sound in a way. I know that might sound weird, but if you listen to it and read who some of their influences are, some of these bands say like, I love Led Zeppelin, I love Fleetwood Mac, I love, the Sex Pistols, and their sound kind of merges all that.
I love Buddy Holly. I love Roy Orbison. It's like they have more decades of music to draw on.
Yeah, and I don't think that it really killed them, but like AJ said, probably the final nail in that coffin there. But I also think with the 80s bands too, if you really think, like their first couple of albums that came out, between let's say 82 up to like 87, they had some good albums there coming out, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, all this. They had some great hits in there. And a lot of that was songs they had been writing for years at that point. Then towards the late 80s, they're out of that material and they're pressured to write new stuff. And it's like, it might not be the best, but they have to put out an album. They're like, you know, the record company's like, you know, you got to put it out, meet this contract deadline, or, you know, whatever, you know. So they're like, yeah. The fame has gotten to them. You know, they're not, you know, as productive as they were, and their material that they've been working on for years, they've used it up now. So now they're like, oh shit, we got to write, you know, 10 to 15, you know, hits here, you know, or whatever.
Right.
And you know, and that was another thing too. They were used to writing for albums that were like, you know, sometimes 8, 9, 10 songs. Well, now CDs were coming in, and we saw it like with Kiss Hot in the Shade, throwing 15 songs on there, practically 2 albums worth on one, you know. So it was like more pressure, you know. They just something they weren't used to. So it was a combination of things. I feel like I don't feel like it was just, you know, oh, Nevermind came out and now these guys are done. It was just a changing tide, and like it just happened, you know.
I saw Alice in Chains open up for the it was like 1990. Man in a Box just came out. It was getting a little bit of airplay, a little bit of. They opened up for the Clash of the Titans tour, which was Slayer, Megadeth, and Anthrax.
Yeah.
Needless to say, they weren't well received. A lot of booing, a lot of you guys suck. Well, and a year later, Dirt came out, and I'm sure everyone that was yelling and screaming out how much they suck were probably paying to go see them headline a show, you know. So it's just like you were saying, like if they start off as like just heavy music, and then they were grunge the next year all of a sudden, but they're always they're the same group, you know.
What's some memorable bands for you guys from the 90s?
Well, in the 90s, right towards the end of the 80s and the beginning of the 90s, I was just neck deep in the heaviest death thrash metal. So it really didn't affect me much, like when like all these hair metal bands went away, because they kind of went away for me anyway at that point. But I was, if it wasn't fast and crazy and aggressive, I didn't want to hear it. Even Kiss, I was still checking out here and there. You know, I bought Smashes. I bought Hot in the Shade. I bought. I don't think I got Revenge until later on in life. So I was just. That's what I was all about. So Headbangers Ball at the last hour. Headbangers Ball was always the best for me, because the first 2 hours were all, you know, all the glam bands and all that stuff. But 90s, it was just all death and thrash, and you know. 15, 16-year-old, just aggressive, mean. It's not fast enough, you know. But I will say that Nirvana, Nevermind, did start putting me on a different. I mean, I still like the heavy stuff, but then I would, you know, after that, I got in like Smashing Pumpkins and, you know, more of the alternative, whatever alternative stuff like that. So yeah, but the really early 80s, the really early 90s, and the really late 80s, it was just death, thrash, gore, and kill. So.
Yeah, you know, I like Nirvana, you know, back then a lot and everything. Listening to it now, it's I guess maybe because I'm not, you know, a 14-year-old kid, it doesn't do the same thing for me now as it did then. It's just I don't know. I'm in a different place in my life, and it's funny because like when I listened to it even back then, I liked it. But then there were other bands that I liked definitely more, whereas people were, you know, my age were like obsessed with Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember when, you know, when Foo Fighters, their first album came out, I got a copy of it. I got a promo copy that was sold at a record store in Atlanta on cassette, like a few weeks before the album actually came out. It was just a cassette with a white insert with just the name on it. That's all it was. So I listened to it, you know, bought it for $4, let my friends hear it and everything. And a friend of mine was like, "Oh, it's good, but they're never going to be as big as Nirvana." And I was like, I said, "You're crazy, man." I said, "This is better than Nirvana." And now, of course,
isn't it crazy?
Yeah, I've since talked to that guy, you know, and I'm like, yeah, Foo Fighters celebrating their 25th anniversary, you know.
Wow, man, that's insane.
But it's you know, and it was funny because like my friends in high school, they were a lot of the metal kids, you know. Some of them listened to stuff like, you know, I told you before, like Corrosion of Conformity, Pantera, like stuff like Carcass and Spastic Children and stuff like that. but they were also listening to stuff like Pearl Jam, Smashing
Yeah.
Pumpkins,
Mhm.
even the
That was me.
Cranberries, even stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, we all kind of listen to whatever, fit into that heavy metal
Yeah.
and alternative rock category,
Right.
kind of. When I list my favorite bands from that era, Stone Temple Pilots is up there. I like Blind Melon a lot.
Mhm.
Trippin' Daisy is a band I like a lot that not a lot of people really, listened to or gave much attention. But like Everclear, Jane's Addiction, stuff like
Everclear.
that, I like them a lot. But yeah, Stone Temple Pilots.
Seven Mary 3.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
I saw Stone Temple Pilots in '93 with Butthole Surfers and Flaming Lips. It was all three of those
Oh, wow.
bands.
Yeah.
It was we had second row seats. It was $15, and it was a great show, And I've always been a huge Stone Temple Pilots fan, so that's definitely one of my favorites from that era. And they got a bunch of flack too because people said they were, just copying them, copying this, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, listen to each one of their albums, and there is some great stuff on there. Even some of their later stuff. Like out number 4, which came out in '98, I believe, '99. That's my favorite album by them.
Right.
So, but
And they're gone. A lot of them are gone now, and that's sad.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
Looking back, I remember when the change was happening. I remember that change, and I remember it being sad, but at the same time, I look back on 90s music now, and I love some of that music. I loved it then,
Yeah,
and I don't blame grunge or Seattle. I think it was just time for 80s music, 80s metal to it had had its day in the sun. That, like you said, the stake in the heart might have been the last nail in the coffin, might have been grunge. But let's be honest, the 80s bands and the record companies kind of started digging that hole.
They were
yeah,
terminal already. Yep.
They were on life support already.
Yeah.
Some of the material that these bands was putting out in the late 80s and early 90s sucked. It sucked.
Yep.
and it's funny when you look at it how like '90s bands like grunge alternative and the '80s metal bands, they kind of like swapped. It was like those '90s bands started on little indie labels. The '80s bands were on the big labels, and then they started signing the '90s bands, and then those
Yeah.
'80s bands went to the indie labels after
Yep.
that. So they
Yep.
swapped positions there in a matter of like 3-4 years.
Yep. All right. Segment 3. Kiss turkeys. So since it's November and we're celebrating Thanksgiving, and we're going to talk about giving thanks here towards the end, and Thanksgiving memories towards the end. But first, we thought we'd talk about some turkeys. There's always big old turkeys out there in Thanksgiving. You got 3 big turkeys on your screen right now, and we're going to talk about turkeys. And what we mean by Kiss turkey is songs that Kiss put out that are turkeys, and we've each picked 5. And so AJ, we'll start with you. What you got for us?
I was working on a little project. I started something and then my wife kind of refined it. But remember doing little projects when you were a kid around Thanksgiving, having to do with turkeys and all kinds of stuff. So I thought I would make some bona fide Kiss turkeys.
There you go.
Like you did when you were a kid with the hand. So
Yeah.
I did the hand and the face, and I was just gonna leave it at that. And then my wife's like, "Well, we got to put wings on there." I said, "Okay, we'll put wings on there." And then one morning I woke up, and she had feet on Pete. I said, "Well, I guess we're doing feet too, huh?" And then I realized that I had only had a black board, and you wouldn't see the hair and stuff. So she didn't have red, but she had purple and green and blue. I'm like, "You have red for jeans?" She's like, "No." So, but there you go.
That is awesome.
Kiss turkeys. I'm trying to get as much screen time as I can because this damn thing took like 3 days to do. So there you go. Let's start the Kiss turkeys segment. There you go. And I'll be auctioning it off, starting at $1,000 for the fun, so I can get my old Kiss shit back.
There you go. That's art, man.
My number 5 turkey. Well, I didn't know. I actually didn't have a lot to choose from. I guess I'm a little more forgiving with them. There were more solo album stuff, but you said you want to keep the solo albums off. But I still may have to have an honorable mention at the end of here. But my number 5 would be I Finally Found My Way, the Peter Criss song from Psycho Circus, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Just not a fan. Just a very weak Pete song, and I figured it'd probably be too easy to pick on Pete, but I had to throw one in there. So I figured I'd start off kind of light because I'm going to really tear into some shit here as we go along. But number 5, I Finally Found My Way.
All right. Since I'm in the middle, I'll go next. My number 5 is Bang Bang You off of Crazy Nights. I fucking hate that song. It's just so bad. The title, Bang Bang You, and I'll shoot you down with my love gun. I mean, he's going to refer back to Love Gun on such a horrible song. Bang Bang You is my number 5. That's a big turkey for me.
All right. Well, my number 5 and 4 will probably get some flack, but this is, of course, my personal opinion. But number 5 for me is Great Expectations. I do not like this song. It is so ridiculously cheesy. Okay. I mean, I know it's Gene, and Gene is cheesy anyway, but it just doesn't sound right. It's
Touch
just
your
over
breast.
the top. It's just I just listen to it. That's all I say. I'm like, Gene, save it for your solo album. I don't want to hear this shit. That's no. Great Expectations.
All right, number 4, turkey for you.
Yeah, well, it seemed the cover songs were a problem for me with them too. So number 4 for me was Kissin' Time off what do you want to call the re-release of the original one? Yeah, never. First time I heard that as a kid, I'm like, I just didn't like it at all. Cheesy, and I don't think they liked it on the album as much from what I read either, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, Kissin' Time. Just keep the cover songs away from them.
That almost made my list.
So that's my number 4.
My number 4. I'm probably going to come under some flack from some of the newer Kiss fans that prefer, that have a leaning towards the newest incarnation of Kiss. But my number 4 is not trying to pick on Mr. Singer. But my number 4 is All for the Love of Rock and Roll. It's like All for the Love of God. It's just that song. It's just so. It's one of those songs that just I listen to it and it just you can tell it's just so calculated and so purposefully written in all the wrong ways to me. In all the wrong ways. I can barely make it to the yeah, and I'm done. I'm done because even the yeah was scripted. There's no heart to it to me at all. It's just, and I'm not a big fan of Eric Singer's voice. It's just play the damn drums. You're a good background singer, but lead vocalist, you're trying to make. It's like Tommy Thayer. Tommy Thayer is not a good lead vocalist either. You're trying to make them something they're not.
Right.
You should have let Eric and Bruce sing, people who could actually sing. So, yeah, All for the Love of Rock and Roll for me is my number 4 turkey.
Well, like I said, number 4, I might get some flack, but it's from the elder, so I might get a pass. But
how dare you?
Just the boy. I'm sorry.
Oh no!
Oh no! The falsetto. I mean, what is this? I thought I was listening to Kiss, not Styx. Okay, what the hell is this?
Oh no!
Sit down.
Where's the kick button? I need to kick Matthew from this thing right now. Where's my kick button?
I probably would not put it on there as long as he didn't, have his nuts twisted in the middle of the song. Okay?
Yeah. That one got me too when I first time I heard it. Like, what in the hell was this? But now, a whole new me.
Okay, so the rest of them, though, I think you guys will agree with. So let me just get that out of the way. And, the tomatoes are being thrown at me now.
All right, so number 3.
Number 3. Mine number 3 is Every Time I Look at You.
Just, come on.
Yeah, no, it's not my wedding song, so I don't care. Sappy, yeah, just syrupy, sappy. Probably made specifically that someone would pick as their wedding song by Mr. Stanley. So that one gets skipped when I listen to Revenge.
Well, that very well might be played at mine next month. So.
You just have to make sure you do this, Matthew. You just have to make sure you go, because every time I look at you, you just need to make sure you do that. You got to be true to the video.
No, too sappy for me.
My number 3 is one that's probably not going to draw too much hate, and it's probably not going to really be on anybody's radar. But I don't know why. I just cannot stand this song. It's off of Animalize, and I hear it. It's one of those songs. As soon as I hear the opening riff, the don't, don't, no, 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 no. You know what song I'm talking about? It gets skipped. Lonely is the Hunter from Animalize is a turkey. It is a turkey to me. It's definitely, you can tell Gene was phoning songs in on that album, and Lonely is the Hunter is one of them. It's zero effort to me. So that's my number 3 turkey.
Well, my number 3 is, you can tell I don't like Psycho Circus because this is the first of 2 Psycho Circus songs. You Wanted the Best.
Really?
This song is not the best. I mean, what a waste of all 4 of them singing on a song where they're doing this mock fighting bullshit and like, hey, Pete, testify, blah, blah, blah. Come on. Just,
you don't like
don't give me sweet talk, Pete, just testify.
And then the whole thing had I mean, what? I feel like West Side Story. They're gonna come snapping or something in there. I mean, jeez.
It's like Shout It Out Loud Part 2, though, isn't it?
Oh god! And then the fact that I mean they're bitching at each other, but then tooting their own horn like we answer the fans, we are the best. Come on, that's a throwaway if I've ever heard one.
That was a sad attempt at another big sing along and just flopped.
Pour the gravy on top and sop it up with a biscuit. It's turkey.
There you go.
My favorite one that Ace fires across the bow on that one when he's like, "Hey, you live a fairy tale. You're just a falling star." Like, yeah.
I mean, God, it was 98. They could have just gone on Jerry Springer and done this shit.
Right.
Like, come on.
That's a good turkey. I agree with that one. We've talked about that before in a review. I hate that song just because of the fact that they're airing their dirty laundry like that in tongue in cheek. You know, but we all knew as fans that they meant every damn word.
Just say, Pete and Ace, you suck.
All right.
Where we at number 2?
Number 2.
Yeah.
Off of Love Gun, never liked it the very first time I heard it. Cover song, Then She Kissed Me.
I actually like that.
A lot of people do. I don't get it. I don't understand it. If you're out of songs, write another one. I mean, what the hell? Don't some half-ass. When was that from? The 50s, the 60s? That song? I don't even know. So yeah, never liked it. Still don't like it. I just don't get it. And that's another skip for me. Then She Kissed Me.
All right. So my number 2 turkey comes off of Unmasked. And it is
how dare you?
My number 2 turkey comes off of Unmasked. It is a skip, and thankfully it's at the end of the album. You're All That I Want off of Unmasked. Can't stand it. I know some people love that song. I don't like it. I'm okay. Except and then when Paul comes in towards the end, you're all that I want. It's just like there's just so much about it I don't like. And, Unmasked is a great album without that song on it. So Unmasked is my You're All That I Want is my number 2 turkey.
Well, my number 2 is I'm going back to one of AJ's there that I finally found my way.
Hey,
That song. Okay, it's just it's Pete sounds terrible on it. It's just I hated the fact that Paul basically wrote this and said, "You're singing this and kissing our ass," saying, "I'm sorry that I left, 20 years ago, and so I'm begging and kissing your butt right now."
Yeah.
That I mean, they play it off like it's some kind of breakup song, but I mean, really, come on, we know what it's supposed to be about, and it's just and it's like Beth Part 73, trying to recreate that with him singing a slow song. I'm not a fan of Psycho Circus, and those 2 songs definitely did it for me. So.
Yep.
It's like, to you, babe.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. It's a Peter, it's a Paul Stanley song, Peter Suck My Ass. And, but I'm not the biggest fan of that song. The saving grace for that song for me, my favorite part is where in the bridge where Paul and Peter are actually singing together, which I think is really weird considering the context of the song. But Paul and Peter are like walking hand in hand down a path. Remember how we used to hide away. We'd share the secrets of our soul.
True confessions time. True confessions time.
You're right. It's like, which one's Dolly Parton and which one's Kenny Rogers?
Right.
I mean,
turn down the lights and dance the night away. But
hey, you got Peter's makeup on your face, on your neck.
Yeah, the song is a prefab song. Like Psycho Circus is prefabbed. I said it in my review that Psycho Circus is a piece of promotional material.
Right.
It is the same as buying a poster. It was a piece of promotional material. It was a piece of merchandise.
And I so look forward to that album, and I was so disappointed.
We all did.
Yeah.
We all did. All right. So that brings us to our number 1 turkey, the big turkey that you pull out and carve up.
I'm probably going to get a lot of slack because I know this people. I don't understand this song. I've never liked it. I don't know, and I know there's with the video and anyway, I'll get to it in a minute. My number 1 turkey of all time, my most hated, second hated. Well, we'll get back to that too. Number 1 turkey, God Gave Rock and Roll to You. Hate it.
I'm gone.
Hate it.
Out.
Since the very beginning. Nope. They're playing it the other night at the end of the show. I'm like, we got to get the hell out of here because I don't want to hear this shit. And I know, the video with Eric and all that stuff and the sentimental thing, but I never, ever understood that song. And that's a cover too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a cover that they tweak some lyrics to.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So once again, it's just stay
Yeah,
out of the
kind of
cover
like
game.
King of the Nighttime World. They tweak the lyrics to it a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good because no one ever heard the original that one before.
Right.
So, but yeah, that song, never liked it. I just it's super cheesy and just not me. My number 1 gobbler.
It's actually usually gets skipped. It's the last track of the album. Kiss has a way of petering their albums out, and I don't understand it. But they
no
do.
pun intended.
Yeah,
Yeah.
petering out. But this is off of Love Gun. It's the last track on Love Gun, and then She Kissed Me. It is probably my most hated Kiss song ever. It never. A lot of times I never even hear the da na na na. It's already skipped. I've already went on to the next thing. So Then She Kissed Me is my number 1 turkey. It is the one I want to take out, carve it up, throw gravy on it, dip it in dressing, and then put it in the garbage.
Feed it to the dog.
It is not. Hey, Did She Kiss Me is not the turkey at my Thanksgiving dinner. It is the can of round cranberry sauce. The turkey's actually good. The round can of cranberry sauce goes in the garbage.
I love cranberry sauce.
I admit I've acquired a taste for it as I've gotten older, but man, I used to, and I don't know if your parents ever did this, but did your parents just like pop it out of the can and just put it just sat there with the ridges?
You slice it.
They
never liked it, but
they didn't slice it though. You had to slice it yourself. It was sitting there a gelatinous
like dog food
tube.
Like Alpo.
I never liked that stuff, but when I got older, I started making my own cranberry sauce. Like,
there you go.
Cranberries, sugar, orange juice, and it's excellent. Yeah. Okay,
so Thanksgiving at Matthew's house.
So okay, your number ones, I understand, but let me tell you, as far as turkeys go, this is not just the turkey. This is the week-old leftover turkey with congealed stuff on top. That you even question if the dog should eat. Okay.
I can't wait to hear it.
And I know that you probably didn't think about this song, but as soon as I say it, I really hope that you're like, "Oh my God, yes, I forgot about that," because this is not on a regular album. This is on the soundtrack to Detroit Rock City. Nothing Can Keep Me From You. The song Paul sings that Diane Warren wrote for that movie, which is the worst possible Kiss song ever.
Yeah,
I
thought you were going to say. I thought you was going to say, "Get off my ascot," or "Not Without my ascot," or whatever it is.
This is
or that Japanese song that they did.
I thought about that. I did, but no. This was Diane Warren wrote this after she had success with the. What is that Aerosmith song from the Asteroid movie? Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
Yeah.
So then Paul was like, well, let's get her to write a hit for Detroit Rock City, which the song just doesn't fit with the movie. It doesn't fit at the end credits or whatever. Terrible song. It is so, it's just, I wouldn't even, this isn't even a good Celine Dion song. So it's a worse Kiss song, it's terrible. It doesn't belong in the Kiss catalog. I'm so glad it's not on a regular album. I hope this never appears in a box set or anything.
Paul's listening. Terrible. Be careful.
Yeah, right.
Paul, the only thing that can keep me from you is playing this song again.
Oh, now we know your kryptonite.
Uh-oh.
But can I just say one more thing? Can I get this off my chest though? I gotta say this. When You Wish Upon a Star.
Okay.
On Gene's solo album. Now, I didn't hear Gene's solo album until later on in life. And I saw this on the jacket or whatever, the CD cover, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. He wrote a song called just like the When You Wish Upon a Star. I thought it'd be like, when you wish upon a star, put my log in your fireplace.
Yeah.
Put my stinger in your honey pot, yeah, star. But
wish upon your brown star.
But when that shit starts up, I just picture because Gene's kind of like jolly.
Yeah.
And when that shit starts up, when you wish upon, I'm like, what in the hell is this? And I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I still to this day, I'm pretty sure our buddy Rick really likes that song. That was my number one, but when you wanted to keep the solo album stuff out, I'm like, okay, well, I guess because you're getting too many branches with like the whole Pete album, but that is my number one, because I didn't think he would actually do it, but he did it.
Yeah, and
it was awful. Just awful.
I would rather listen to When You Wish Upon a Star than True Confessions.
Really?
Yes. True Confessions is horrible. It's like 30. It's like 30 seconds of verse and chorus, and then it's 3 minutes of True Confessions. Sweet, sweet.
Well, you don't want to forget the name of the song now, do you?
Yeah. Oh no. He sure as hell didn't give me a chance to do that.
Gene should have just kept with the Disney theme when he put out another album. So when he put out Asshole, he should have just done like Bare Necessities or something on there.
Hold up, bare necessities. Yeah.
I just can't wait to be king. Oh yeah.
I just had to get that off my chest. You want to keep it? It's up to you. But I need a drink now.
All right, so all this turkey talk. It's time to part 2 of segment 3. We're going to start making the turkey into turkey casserole and turkey salad, and we're going to talk about some Thanksgiving memories. Thanksgiving memories for me. When I think of Thanksgiving, I think about Grandma. I grew up my mom and dad divorced. Something I don't never really talk about on my channel. My dad actually left my mom when I was about 18 months old. My mom's been gone for 3 years now. My grandma and my mom raised me and my brother. My grandma was retired. My mom worked her ass off in a factory doing a man's job, making oil seals, coming home with burns on her arms. And me and my brother never, and I'm trying not to get choked up, but me and my brother never wanted. I had so much stuff when I was a kid. Kiss stuff, albums, video games, shirts, clothes. If I wanted it, my mom got it for me. But Thanksgiving was always big for me and my brother. And so when I think of Thanksgiving, this is my thoughts of it. That's my backstory. My grandma cooking everything homemade. She made everything homemade. All the family would come. I had 5 aunts and uncles, tons of cousins, family that was out of town. They would all come. Our small little 2-bedroom house would be packed. Mom and Grandma would give presents to the family that we wouldn't see at Christmas, because we had some families that lived as far away as Hawaii, and they'd come at Thanksgiving, but they wouldn't come at Christmas. If they lived far off, me and my brother would gift gifts too. I often got Kiss stuff during this time from age 8 to about 12. And there would be Thanksgiving parade on TV and football, usually the Redskins and the Cowboys. I was a Redskins fan. I had a Redskin toboggan with those big burgundy and yellow yarn balls on the top of it. And that evening, after everyone left, my mom and my grandma and me and my brother would put up the Christmas tree. And I follow that tradition to this day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's good.
So, sorry.
No, hey. Don't apologize at all. That's
it's all about, man. Family and love and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep. So y'all talk about stuff right now. Let me compose myself.
I don't have I have a huge family. I mentioned to you guys. One time I had 14 aunts and uncles,
wow.
Shit ton of cousins, even more so now, and so we lost a few uncles. And we usually go by grandmas for the most part. You know, back in the day when it would actually be cold and snow sometimes on Thanksgiving. Because now it's like, I think last Thanksgiving was in the 60s over here. Eat a lot of stuff. I mean, I didn't get this way by eating salad. Later on, grandma got older, and other people would have it. It depends, who's going to have it this year and who's got the house to fit all these people. Even my grandma's house is really small too, so we have people in the kitchen, in the dining room, in the living room, in the porch. People just be sitting there, eating their plates and shit. The kids with the little kids table and stuff,
holding their plates, eating.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorites next to Halloween. Next to Halloween now, for sure. I look forward to Thanksgiving, especially now because my wife's family is Italian, so Mom breaks out usually a pan of lasagna or stuffed shells and meatballs and sauce to start. And that's the mistake anyone new to the family makes, is they think, well, this is it. So they have like a plate of shells and before that there's cheeses and snacks and shrimps and everything, and then the lasagna or the stuffed shells, whatever she wants, comes out, and then the food starts. So turkey, ham. I love yams. I'm the only one that likes yams now because it's just me and my sister-in-law, and she passed away. So we'd have there'd be a whole pan of sweet potatoes, And we'd be like, well, I guess this is for us because no one else is going to eat this shit. And the cranberry, like we were talking before. Me and her were the only two that ate it. So, yeah, it's just one of my favorites now next to Halloween. I really look forward to it just to eat and just, watch football and stuff like that. And it's really a good time. And it sucks that not everyone's around anymore. So now I'm going to get emotional. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of my, it's definitely my favorite next to Halloween. Matt's got to try not to get dewy-eyed.
No promises there. No, but as a kid, I always liked Thanksgiving because it was the holiday between my two favorite, Halloween and Christmas. When I was younger, it was of course getting together at my grandparents' house with the rest of my family and everything. But what I loved most actually was the day after, because sometimes the reason I would like this because I was out of school obviously, but the networks would show Saturday morning cartoons on Fridays, the day after Thanksgiving Friday. So I was all excited about that. And then as I got older and had kids, again, I loved that Black Friday because, I wasn't working retail anymore. And I vowed I'm not going out on Black Friday ever again after I got out of retail, So that was the day me and the boys, especially when they were younger, and they're older now. My kids are 20 and 16. But, when they were younger, we stayed in pajamas all day. We ordered pizza. We played video games and watched movies. We just didn't do anything, lazy day. But now that I'm with Casey, Thanksgiving is definitely one of my favorites besides Halloween. I like it more than Christmas because it's a big deal to her. Thanksgiving's a big deal to her, and we've only been together now for 4 years, but we've started a tradition. We get up early Thanksgiving morning. We turn on the parade. We cook food all day and everything, and we started having Thanksgiving at our house now with all of the family coming over, all my family coming over. And, within a 45-mile radius, I have 35 family members live here. So it's a lot of us that are over here that day. And that's become just a tradition that we do. And it's fun. I love it, So now my Thanksgiving love and memories are now tied to her. This is all something somewhat new. And it's become one of my favorite times of the year. But, and, I'm going to try not to get emotional here too, but go ahead,
man. I did. You can't leave me out here by myself.
we didn't do anything for Thanksgiving because of COVID last year and everything, but the Thanksgiving before, my uncle had come over and everything, and we didn't. Well, we knew at the time, but we didn't know how serious it was. But he was diagnosed with cancer, and so he had come over, and Casey had tried her hand at making pecan pie. I'd never made it before. And my uncle is the big baker in the family. He would bake cakes, pies, everything every year. And I mean, it's spectacular stuff that he would make. And so, I think I might have put that bug in her ear, before. So she was all like, oh God, I hope he likes the stuff, that I made and everything. So I think she actually asked him, or I don't know if she asked him or if he just came up and told her, but he said that, because I think she said beforehand, I hope it's okay, But he went back for seconds and said how great it was and everything. And so that was she was like, ooh. And I was like, well, that means a lot because, my uncle didn't hand out compliments like that. He was a funny guy, but he would tease everyone a lot. But he just straight up told her, yeah, great job on that. And he ended up passing away from cancer in February, right before COVID hit and everything. So it's, a little bittersweet now because he's not going to be able to come this year. He's not going to be here this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the sucky thing about holidays when you lose people, especially if they were one of the centerpieces of that holiday.
And now it's both, my sister-in-law has cancer and my brother's not doing too well health-wise, and so it's because of all that, and coincidentally, my uncle's best friend of 40 years just passed away last week as well. He was real close to our family. I'm real good friends with his sons and everything. And so it's kind of it really makes you realize how precious and how short everything is, and it's now we were talking about, well, should we do it at our house here? Because, we just moved and everything. I'm like, oh, we definitely should, because you never know if it's going to be the last Thanksgiving or not for someone, so to speak. But that's the one time when we can all just get together and enjoy each other. And there's not like a stigma of giving gifts and all this stuff. It's just, we're just hanging out, stuffing our faces and enjoying our company,
So Thanksgiving memories. As for you guys out there, we hope that you guys are having a great November. We hope coming up on Thanksgiving that you have an amazing Thanksgiving, that you take the time during the Thanksgiving season to enjoy family and catch up on some YouTube videos from yours truly. And just enjoy your time with your family. And even I dare say it, put your phone away and just enjoy and just spend time with everybody. Even if it's that uncle that's kind of weird and you don't really care for, you never know. Like Matt said, you never know if that's going to be their last Thanksgiving that you'll have with them.
Wait, that's me. I'm the weird uncle now.
Yeah.
And don't talk politics.
Yeah. Don't talk. Yeah. Don't talk that.
Well, before we go, I'll leave it on a good story, because a happy story, because you mentioned weird uncles. So let me just tell you a story about my nephew years ago. He's 21 now, but when he was much younger, he was watching TV and they mentioned something about Tourette's, and he asked my sister what Tourette's was, and she explained it to him. And she was explaining sometimes the people have Tourette's will involuntarily curse or whatever. And he looked very shocked and he said, "Is that what Matthew has?" And she said, "No, Matthew just cusses a lot."
Yeah, that's me too. Yeah. That's me too. All right. So thank you guys. AJZetro.
Thank you, man.
Find AJZetro 1975 on Instagram. For all things horror, all things beer, all things just crazy death metal driving to work music. The stories are fun and I love it. And you can find Matthew MD Smith Comics on Instagram as well. He produces his own line of comic books, and you can find out information about that on Instagram. Support these guys. Check them out for being here, taking the time, a couple hours out of their month to be with me to make these videos for you guys. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, subscribe. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon. It buys more things. It's coming up on the new year, and so I'm going to be re-upping on about $800 worth of subscriptions. And so consider supporting the channel so I can keep making these videos for you. And that is all I've got. We will be back in December, Season 1, Episode 3. We'll be back in December with a very holly jolly Christmas-related episode with 3 topics. A Christmas episode with 3 new topics for you guys to talk about. And that's all I've got. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.
I don't know.